Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Mystic Moons is here, asking questions. Asking questions from the spirits of the universe, our universal consciousness. Let's gather our wits, our spirit, our essence, our psychics together, and let's ask a few questions. Let certain things happen. We have to ask political questions because politics, whether we like it or not, shapes a portion of our terrestrial life. And we have to pay attention. I mean, it's hard. We got this to do, that to do, and we have pressure. But a lot of this pressure comes from the political class. In fact, probably most of it comes from the political class. And then you have to ask us, people, who is the political class? What runs the political class? Well, we do, right? And we're under the illusion that we do. But we'll just leave that aside for a second. But you heard the latest news, haven't you? Trump has canceled. President Donald J. Trump has canceled Sleepy Joe Biden's, sometimes they get lost, autopen pardons that were done like thousands and thousands at the 12th hour, the 13th hour, perhaps, you can say. Now, you would think that someone who took care of the work would have the ability to sign their own documents. Okay, so you didn't have to type it up, right? You didn't even have to write it up, but at least sign it yourself. However, Joe Biden, our last president, 45th president, insisted upon having autopen, or maybe he or one member of his staff, because maybe Joe Biden seemed to become confused. We're not going to touch that exactly yet. We're asking the question of why did Trump? Now, Trump is a man who, my world, my things, myself. Now, why would he cancel all Joe Biden's machine-driven signatures, except for Hunter Biden? Don't you think a little something is weird there? Why? Why would he, the leader of the man of the people, so he professed to be, or at least even the man of the tech organizations, which he's showing himself to be, why would he not pardon, or cancel, I'm using the wrong words. Of course, it's early in the morning, it's 3 o'clock, a few hours before dawn here in the Northeast where I am. And it's slightly snowing outside, so I'm all comfy cozy. And my agitation is, of course, layered with chill of the outside and the warmth of the inside. So, as you can see, you have to ask questions. Why does our president not cancel all the bloody autopen pardons? He said he would. Why did he just leave a few? And it's a few that he left. Hunter Biden's cocaine, naked, fornicating. We've seen him in the buff more than we've seen him with clothes on. Hunter Biden's corrupt son. Why would he not pardon him? And we do know that Hunter Biden was very enterprising in Ukraine, making deals with Ukraine. And the war with Ukraine, I mean, it's fishy. Something smells. Something smells like fish laid on the counter too long, right? Or eggs that are too old and had cracks in them. Something is up. Why would he not even touch that? Is he waiting for something? Is that the big piece de resistance? The big kahuna? The big earthquake? Hunter Biden? But you would think Hunter Biden is such an easy thing to pop. Balloon, poof, 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 he was so obvious with his drug usage. And of course, we're supposed to friendly say, poor man, he was troubled. He had such a difficult time being the son of a famous personage. Now, which one of these give me the feel of Hunter Biden? This one does. Why was he glossed over? His pardon, not even questioned. Maybe because Daddy Joe signed it himself? Or maybe it wasn't. Maybe he didn't sign it himself, but maybe it wasn't auto-penned. But I don't know about that. Do you? I mean, we had 4 years of looking at his pantied, open exposed buttocks, crack smelling, yeah, smiling, chipped teeth, doped up, humping this broad, that broad self. He was always having a good time. He was the ditty of the political class. But yet, nothing. He even went to court, didn't he? Where was that cocaine that was in the White House? God. And who knows what else was in the White House? And which one of these two? This one. Says, which one of these little creatures is telling you why? Why? We'll take one more and we'll get some insight from the cosmos, from the universal consciousness energies telling us, why did Trump gloss over the pardon of Hunter Biden, the most obvious crackhead in the world? Even his artwork, the cruddy artwork they was selling for thousands of dollars. I mean, he was plugged up so much he looked like a porcupine on melted quills. All right? A porcupine. Anything you could pull out, the air would become foul. Any one of those quilts sticking out of the house that Jack built. Yes, Hunter Biden was on fire. And he's still on fire, but he's getting a pass because he's the son of a former president. He's a cornerstone of so much corruption. Maybe he's the cornerstone. You all know what a cornerstone is when you're making a building. It's a ceremony. It's a figurehead piece of construction to mark the achievement, the milestone of the building to be built, or that has been built. And we're talking about Biden's corrupt skyscraper of autopen pardons. All right, let's see if the cosmos has some energy to tell us. The first thing we get is the sun. No, the star. In terms of Ukraine, maybe they don't want to open up anything with. Now, we do know the Nazi partied Ukrainian leader organization, right? A little country filled with 49 biolabs, funneled with money from Hunter Biden, the president's son, the ex-president's son. And we do know that Ukraine shares the border with Russia, right? And we do know the United States is forever must have the enemy of Russia and must have the enemy of China, because the United States is filled with exceptional imperialists, exceptional people, exceptional, and nobody can be number one. We can't have unification on this globe without United States running the show. But we do know we're dealing with a global 20% towards the 80% of us all. We do know that fact. But yet they don't want to touch Ukraine. Zelensky, with his millions and millions and millions of dollars, taxpayer dollars, into his many, many mansions and apartment buildings, his real estate offerings, which are considerable. In a country that before this war was started, I don't know what it is now, the average income was 600 USD. A month. A month. A month. It's nothing. And when your little tiny leader who played the piano as a comic with his organ, his personal organ, the leader, the fearless leader, who is now the dictator, taking beautiful Ukrainian men off the streets and putting them on the front line to be hamburger meat, to be ground to ground, ground, ground. Fertilizer, right? Fertilizer for a pipe dream of whose, who, whom, for whom, for whom. We do know Ukraine is a big mess. And maybe if they touch Hunter Biden, he has said, if you do this to me, I'll tell the truth. But anyway, we have the star. Piscean energy, intuitiveness. Maybe he's giving him maybe he's used. Let sleeping dogs lie, this star could be. The next one we picked, the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands. And let's go and move along and create more havoc and more hassles. Let's not touch every single faux pas that we created. Every single element. We're not going to talk about NASA's non-disclosures of the universe, of the galaxy that we live in, of the planet. We're not going to give the real deal about the ecological status of the earth, of the planet. No, we're not going to talk about the self-imposed, don't have personal gardens, no food. We're not going to talk about all these. We have too many issues. We must keep our war hawk state of war and things going. And Hunter Biden, we're not going to touch that. We're not going to touch that, are we? Because that is a piñata. If we put too many sticks on that piñata hanging on the ceiling, what's going to fall out? Maybe the whole show. The world is building the world card. What kind of world is this? This is all these things you see: fire, healing. It's patchwork. That's a patchwork. That's like putting a Band-Aid on a hole in your heart. A Band-Aid. What is that going to do? Just a Band-Aid. Tourniquet. When you just want to stop the bleeding a little, type of star. And this we have the Knight of Wands. The whole herd, so many things. This is all the issues that we have that can come out with these autopen signatures. Or maybe the whole thing could be too. The world will know the corruption of the previous administration. Or what I don't really think too much is going to come out because we can't damage our status. We've already lost money. We've lost status. Maybe that's the whole point. Taking down us, the United States, and the world to see what? More of our internal filth, like France, the state of France, nation state of France. And we have the Three of Swords. Now that's something that we should consider. We should consider the Three of Swords. If they open up Ukraine, which is not ready to interfere, will that give too much leverage to the peace talks? There's something funky we all know in our guts. In our spirit. There's something horribly wrong with the country that has had maybe 60 million people in the country state of Ukraine, right? Now they're reduced to 20 million. 50 million, 20 million. Maybe it's 600 million. Nah, it doesn't seem right. Or it could be, but the result is it's lost two-thirds of its population. Ukraine has lost two-thirds of its population. Now, something is effed up about that. And you have a dictator, a guy who played with his dick on a piano before he became the installed leader of Ukraine, taking young men off the streets and constricting them into the army when they knew nothing. There's a lot of sorrow. We all know about Gaza and that genocide, but there's Ukrainian genocide as well, just going on. And Hunter Biden's nabbing him at this time would release a lot of information, a lot of the dealings that went on, and then who was also involved. The world would see us too naked, too harshly. Are we prepared to deal with this? That's the question. Is that why Hunter Biden was not pegged for cancellation of his autopen pardon? Ooh, 8 of Wands. There's energy. There's a lot of energy behind all this. Doesn't it seem to you that something is wrong? Something smells like garbage. Something smells. It's almost like you're cooking rotten meat, right? Something's burning. Well, this energy about the auto pardons are going to be canceled. All those auto pardons are going to be canceled. Auto pen pardons. We think they didn't get a revolving door out the door. Ha ha. No. Trump said he was coming back for revenge. And he's fulfilling that finally because his back is up against the wall because of Epstein or other things. Perhaps the psychic world, the energies of the world. Tit for tat, bowl for bowl, eye for an eye. Eye for an eye. You can't get your health back once you've been hassled. Stress does not make you weak. Strength makes you tough. Stress makes you tough. You can cry and boo-hoo, but, when you see others laughing at you, enjoying your sweat, your nervous energy, ha ha, ha ha. So you can't blame others for getting even, but sometimes you have to wonder, why do they stop at certain points? We can also see in all this the world. 3 of Swords, 8 of Wands. There's a lot going on that is not kosher, that is not pristine, that is not legal. Or is it in terms of two-tier realities? Right? What do you think? What do you think? It looks like he doesn't want to. He's not going to touch Hunter Biden. It also could be because he's been instructed not to. But maybe there's a secret garden, a back door, a cellar. While this tornado is going around and around and around, with who's going to get popped, they're saving. Maybe it's an inverted type of, circularity. Hit all the people that were involved with Hunter Biden, and then you see that Hunter Biden not only is involved, but he lied about this, that, and everything. Perhaps that is a trick ploy that the Trump administration is going to use. Maybe we have something special for Hunter Biden. Maybe he is the cherry on top of the explosive sundae of See Me Now. Maybe remember you've seen comedy skits of the food all on top of the table and somebody takes the tablecloth and it's successful. The food stays on top. I've never seen it. And then if not, everything comes crashing down. So maybe Hunter Biden is the last piece, the dessert following the feast of getting even, and making more chaos. We'll see. We'll see. But it seems as though the fact that he was connected with Ukraine, a deal making Ukraine, it's almost an Oberst type of situation, isn't it? Or it's a game of marbles. Tick, 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 marbles and jacks. Something. But it's not out of the picture. But there's a reason. And I would say, through the voice of the spirits of the universe, that Ukraine peace talks have a lot to do with what's going on. And one thing after another must be paced, but not that paced, because the energy is now lit. The heat is on. The fire has started. And the horses are running. The knights are there. We'll see. How much is it going to take? Revelations. All right. If you have any comment, please add on. What do you think? Do you think it's because of Ukraine? Or do you think it's because they're going to do a U-turn and come back to Hunter? They're going to entrapment versus total entrapment. Until the next time, I'm going to leave you. Think about these things that happen because they do affect us. They affect us very much. Sometimes when people gain sides and they think this and they think that, they're not looking at the underlying or the over-the-top reasons things happen. Why now? And for who benefits from all this? And what type of distractions, realities, revelations are necessary to keep the fear, to keep the chaos, dissension, to get what and what? The path is open. The end result, we know what it is. And it's not good. All right. Until the next time, thank you for listening. Comments welcomed. And keep listening because we're going to contact more spirits about more universal energies. We're going to try and grab what is happening to see where we can make sense because we're not going to have anybody else tell us but our own psychic gut feelings that are imparted to us from beyond the heavens. Always. We can't expect the players to be upfront and personal with us because they do not value our opinions or our thoughts, except to echo as you hear my cat in the background. Until the next time, bye-bye. Meow to you too. Thank you.